You know, only food which doesn't sell?
Which one?
Bad food, yeah. I just grew up eating puchkas and street food, and so my ability to handle street food is like right up there.
Do you have a favorite between the puchka, pani puri and golgappa?
Hands down puchka. There's not like, if puchka is 10 on 10 on a scale, everything else is 4 and below.
I'm sure there are a lot of people who will disagree with that, but we can get into that. Before food delivery was a tap on your phone, it was a process. Call it in, jot it down, and then wait patiently by the door. And if you were like me, you hoarded these crumpled menus and coupons like treasure. I had a drawer full of them, my little catalogues of cravings. So when I think about how far we've come, from menu drawers to algo-curated food recommendations, few platforms capture that shift better than Swiggy. And today, I'm speaking to the man at the center of it all, Rohit Kapoor, the CEO of Swiggy's food marketplace. In this episode, Rohit and I get into all of it, from changing kitchen habits and food trends to the business of feeding a country that's as diverse as its cuisines. This episode is layered with hustle and vision and finished with a perfect glaze. Clearly, Bombay's 3-layer chocolate fudge by Bombay Sweet Shop was the only way to go. Hi, Rohit. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm good, Smitha. Great to be on this podcast. Look forward to it.
Of course, I'm excited to chat with you. To start with, Rohit, I know that you grew up in Calcutta, and Calcutta has amazing food, amazing culinary traditions. Could you tell me about what growing up in Calcutta was like, and how did that sort of shape your relationship with food?
So I'm quite unique that way. I'm a Kapoor. I grew up in Calcutta and I'm a vegetarian. It's a market of one, right? So I think Calcutta shaped me in two ways about food, because Calcutta has great supply of street food. And I was always short on pocket money. So I think that naturally matched me to street food more than anything else.
Yeah.
So growing up memories, like Calcutta, they had this concept of churanwala, right? And who also used to make the aloo chaat and some other chaat. And during the season, they'll get these fruits and guava and cut guava with like masala.
Yeah.
That is one abiding memory, which is like every day after school, 4:30 in the evening, you have to go there. Plus, I think I just grew up eating puchkas and street food. And so my ability to handle street food is like right up there.
Do you have a favorite between the puchka, pani puri and golgappa?
Hands down puchka. There's not like, if puchka is 10 on 10 on a scale, everything else is 4 and below.
I'm sure there are a lot of people who will disagree with that, but we can get into that. Rohit, in the past, while I was doing research for the interview, it came up that you did a solo trip across India as a teenager. Could you tell me a little bit about that? Did you have what was the reason for that? What inspired you to do that? And did you have any food experiences that sort of shaped you along that journey?
Honestly, I love travel from the very early days, and I wanted to have the experience when I was 15, saying I want to do it on my own, right? And I think there was a bet with my dad on some percentage marks I must get to be allowed to do that, which is good. I was a typical Indian kid. मेरे को target दे दो मैं कर देता था, right? I did travel mostly by train to different cities across India. Again, got perfect matching of not too much pocket money with me, and the kind of supply of street food meant that I was eating at dhabas and street side corners. And so it was fascinating. I think my love for going and traveling all across India, I still do that. In Swiggy, for example, if I'm not wrong, I must have traveled anywhere between 50 to 70 cities over the last 3 years. Right. So that has not gone away. I just enjoy doing that. I think each part of the country is so different. Like, for example, you go to a Raebareli, it's so different from a Lucknow, which is just 1.5 hours away.
Yeah.
And so different from, let's say, a town in South India.
Yeah.
So that, I think, has stayed with me.
No, that's lovely. It's so interesting you say that because I'm sure, of course, you have access to information and data about how India is dining in different parts of the country. Are there any food trends that have stood out for you? I know that Swiggy comes out with a trend report, but any specifics about how, say, a certain part of India eats as opposed to another?
Look, I think that answer is very complicated because वो हिंदी में कहते हैं कि आप अगर इंडिया में ट्रैवल कर रहे हो तो हर कोस्ट पे बानी विच इज लैंग्वेज
Yeah.
और शायद हर 2 कोस्ट पे खाना चेंज होता है राइट
Yeah.
जस्ट टू गिव सिंपल एग्जांपल जस्ट ट्राई एंड ड्राइविंग फ्रॉम बैंगलोर टू केरला right? And what we in North will call the South Indian thali for the lack of better understanding, right?
Yeah.
Will change 5 times. And so I think two, three trends which are evergreen and some which are sort of surprising me a little bit. One is our love for traditional, our own food continues, right? I don't think that's going away anywhere. But on top of that, experimentation started big time. So like it's like if you like Indian or if you like home food, you'll continue to have that.
Yeah.
But often enough you'll want Mexican. Often enough you'll want Japanese. So the like this Peruvian food, there is Ethiopian food. There is now these are cuisines you never heard of. Like, not like there are hundreds of restaurants of like this type. But if you want in Bangalore to find a Peruvian restaurant, you'll find it, right?
Yeah.
In terms of cuisines, biryani just continues to surprise. I think every time we think that this party is over, right? It again rises and becomes number one. And in the same city, you'll have 10 biryani brands which are big, and the 11th one will come with some unique proposition and also do well, right?
It's crazy.
The trend I'm most curious about is the whole the Gen Alpha or not Alpha, maybe the lower end of Gen Z on how they're thinking about beverages, right? So iced tea, for example, is booming. Boba tea is booming. I don't think they're consuming the traditional beverages at all,
Yeah.
right? The tea,
Sober
coffee.
curious is the term that's thrown around for them.
Correct. So they're like the boba tea, for example, right? Even 2 years back, we'll say like, "Pata nahi chalega ki nahi chalega." Now they're like so many good brands in India already, and some of them are super interesting. But I do think that we are seeing very early stages of large Indian food QSRs. Right, and classically Haldiram and Bikanerwala are great examples of that, because that's nothing but, if you think about it, Indian food QSR. But we will see multiple formats emerging which is taking Indian food mainstream.
So it's interesting that you say that because, I'm sure Swiggy has a way to anticipate how trends are changing and how people are using Swiggy to complement or supplement their meals. So, for example, are people ordering full meals, or are they just saying, okay, we're going to make fried rice at home and so let's get momos from Swiggy? How are they using Swiggy in terms of ordering?
Look, I think anything I say about India in general will be wrong, because there's nothing,
so many Indias.
There's just so many Indias, and But if I take like two extremes, for example, if I take like family, which I sometimes jokingly call the double income one dog family, right? In Bangalore, for example, and which I think Bangalore, parts of Gurgaon, Hyderabad, these are the closest to sort of becoming more similar to Singapore or Hong Kong or how people live in some of the Western countries. There are households where cooking has stopped. So it's no longer about that one meal. It's actually practically stopped. They're now down to making like 2 or 3 meals at home in a week. I'm not right. And 80% of the balance is delivery, probably. And about 15-20% is somebody going out and eating. And that's mostly for fun, right? It could be Friday, Saturday. So there's one extreme where kitchens are outsourced practically, right? We're not even talking meals being outsourced anymore. Whereas if I take another town, let's say a small town in UP, Jhansi or somewhere, the permissibility is still very nuanced, right? So it like saying, अच्छा मेहमान आ रहे हैं तो कुछ घर से कुछ बाहर से, right? Or there's a birthday, so let's order a cake in, right? Or it's Karwa Chauth, so you must be tired, let's not cook today. So either go out or eat in. So it's much more nuanced, and the breaking of portions is happening because of 2 reasons. One is that the principal homemaker, whoever it is actually breaking the meal up, saying, okay, let's order something and I'll make something at home. Or there is a simple act of saying what I call the Ghiya Tori Loki rebellion of the youngsters, of younger people saying not having this anymore. Like I'm going and ordering my pizza. Best of luck to you, right? If you make this every day, I'm not going to have it. So India is really adopting to food consumption in variety of different ways. And for many people, we are lucky enough to be their first thing they think about in the morning and the last thing they think about before they go to sleep, right? So it's not bad.
Absolutely.
While Rohit talks about how India's food choices are evolving, I went digging into the 2024 food report to see what the numbers are really saying. Turns out some things don't change. Over 83 million biryanis were ordered last year. That's about 2 every second. And dosa wasn't too far behind with about 23 million orders. But what I found most telling was this. Dinner far outpaced lunch by about 30%. Which makes you think food delivery isn't just about convenience anymore. It's becoming a part of how we unwind and mark the end of our day. So while there's this massive shift in access and speed, the core cravings remain the same. India might be swiping through new cuisines, but we're still coming home to our favorites.
Rohit, I'm sure that you'll agree with this. As a kid growing up in India, I think we all know that Indian kitchens are very famous for their creativity. So last night's sabzi will be turned into a paratha the next day.
We are champions of recycling and avoiding waste, which is great, actually.
Absolutely. And now the world is trying to learn from us. So that, and this ingenuity is where a lot of family recipes come from and, where a lot of that food magic happens. Do you think Swiggy is like impacting this aspect of Indian cuisine in any way, that we might be losing maybe some of our culinary resourcefulness just because we have access to, like you said, like I don't want to eat turai at home, I can order a pizza. Do you think it's impacting our relationship?
Smitha, we are too small in the overall scheme of things to impact society as large as and as varied as India, right? But having said that, let me take that with a different example. My mom is 85, right? She lives in Calcutta. When I go there, she still wants to cook for me, right? My daughter's 13. She goes to the kitchen like she goes to a museum. Right? Saying, oh, acha, this is this. Oh, you make this way. Oh, you make this that way, right? So I think there is a social change happening in India, and we are part of that social change, either being driven by that or some part of that driving that, right? Now, if it comes to preservation of what we call our own food tradition, let me put it this way rather than just say recipes.
Yeah.
I do believe we are actually preserving it for posterity for the longest period of time. And I'll tell you why I say this.
Yeah.
India is becoming far more united in its food preferences than divided. People are trying far more. I'll give you two, three examples.
Yeah, give me an example.
You're a Mallu, so you'll understand. It's like Sadhya. I heard the term first time about 8-10 years back when I was late 30s, early 40s. I never knew what Sadhya is, being a North Indian. Today, when you open a Gurgaon newspaper during Onam, you'll get a lot of inserts saying Sadhya meal, pre-order, pre-order, pre-order. So many of my friends are having Sadhya meals who had no idea what Sadhya was, right? If you take Modak as an example, it was very much Ganapati related in Maharashtra, parts of Karnataka where people had Modak. Today during Ganapati, Balram Malik will make Modak in Calcutta, which I call the Instagram effect. Right? So actually, not just us, I think even a platform like, let's say, Instagram, where a lot of food discovery actually happens, right, is making a lot more people aware about traditions, cuisines, recipes, which are either very localized or would have died in some kitchen somewhere. We'll continue to have what we really love traditionally, and we are willing to experiment with global cuisine in a big way, right?
Yeah.
When we talk about food and identity, there's something special about the kind of creativity that comes from making do, from turning everyday ingredients into something delicious. That's the kind of culinary resourcefulness I was thinking about. Rohit brings a wider lens on how obligation might be giving way to choice, and how maybe the definition of resourcefulness is changing. It's less about scarcity and more about exploration. And as he says, platforms like Swiggy and Instagram are part of that story too, leading the charge when it comes to discovery and delight.
Okay, so it's interesting that you spoke about this Instagram effect. In the past, you've talked about the digital equalization of India, where a reel that someone watches in a Delhi could be viewed by someone in a Trichy or a Srinagar or wherever. Have you noticed a change in consumption patterns because of this? For example, like you said, like someone wants to eat a modak in, say, a different part of the country where they may not have access to, or what is the data telling you? I'd love to know.
Yeah, I think absolutely, because the specific term I always use is India digitally equalized and financially unequal, right? So two things. One is when brands are reaching those cities or towns, they're figuring out they already are known, right? It's not just in food. For example, I won't be surprised if a 13, 14-year-old girl in a small town in India actually knows a Korean cosmetic brand.
Yeah.
The second thing is what we see is that whenever people are traveling from those towns where, let's say, some of the brands are not available, part of the bucket list of coming to Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Mumbai, any of these is I have to knock off these 4 places which are still not there in my town.
Yeah.
Right? The other way we see a difference is, let's say, a QSR outlet, let's say Pizza QSR, take let's say national one, in Delhi, Bombay, or the top metros or top 50 cities, will be used far more functionally. In a small town in the open, it is a dating joint. It is the celebration point.
Yeah.
It is the talk of the town. It is like we have to go and discover this today, right?
Yeah.
So those nuances exist, but it's not like India is rejecting any brand which is coming there, as long as the price points are right and the quality is maintained. Some of the brands are discovering magic in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 towns, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's so funny, that you said that, because when I was in school is when McDonald's came to India, and then there was a big line at that Bandra outlet. Yeah. And then, of course, there was Cafe Coffee Day and Barista, and, all of those brands opened up soon after the other. And all of them started as these occasion outlets, right? Like you go if you're...
Some occasion.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But now it's just become very casual, and, you're at Andheri station and you're hungry and you go to McDonald's. So I guess it's sort of become more mass and more acceptable for a lot of people.
More use cases, simply, because the brand
absolutely.
is delivered and
and it has more accessibility.
Yeah.
Which is of course what Swiggy is helping with. I want to understand, Rohit, has this concept of premium dining at home become more mainstream? Of course, during the pandemic, a lot of these premium restaurants tried to become more accessible. That was the only model to pivot to delivery. But now I want to understand, does Swiggy play a role in making luxury dining experiences accessible outside of a traditional restaurant setting?
Look, I'll Smitha, divide this into 2 parts. I think when we say luxury dining, we often talk about 5-star restaurants. I'll take them slightly separate, because they're very well known, but they're small in number, right?
Yeah.
Overall, right? But if you just define premium dining as, let's say, 1.5, 2 times our average order value, because that's a correct metric to look at, saying what really is premium. Okay. The restaurant recall of the food is very high.
Yeah.
But then just imagine you're in Bangalore or Bombay or anywhere. I firmly believe that no amount of offers or anything makes 90% of people step out when they don't want to. Right? So if you're wanting your favorite restaurant and you're not in a mood, you're in a pajamas, you want to watch Netflix, etc., you will not go out because somebody is giving you some incentive or some offer or some promotion, etc. You will order home, and guess what? You're trying to order the restaurant you really love. Okay. Both premium is growing, actually one of the fastest growing categories. Second, most restaurants which used to be only dine-in today are dine-in and delivery almost inevitably, unless the cuisine or something, like for example a tasting menu. I agree.
Sure.
Hard to replicate, right?
Yeah.
But anything short of that, the rest if you take, which is the warp and weft of premium dining, is booming.
I think in the 90s, Italian cuisine was really popular. And then, some years ago, Italian sort of fell from grace, and then Chinese and Pan-Asian sort of came to the forefront. Are you seeing any trends like that?
I think some of the core ones still rule the roost, right? So Indian, by far one of the largest for sure. Asian. Chinese has more morphed into Asian, right? Where Chinese has become sub part of it. Definitely Mexican, definitely Italian. But again, where in an area like Kurmangla, when there would have been one Japanese restaurant at some point, there are 5. And really exotic cuisine, which I spoke about, which we never even knew we had access to, like Peruvian or Ethiopian. So there's so many of them. Sri Lankan as a separate branch. So I think everything is coming, and my sense it will always start from the top. So it's not like everybody will suddenly have a Peruvian meal, but the early adopters, those who are really curious about food and foodies, they'll 100% have it, and then they'll speak about it. Others will have it. So that journey is very much on.
Super interesting. Talk to me about the curation of restaurants on the app. Obviously, there are sponsored spots on the app that, restaurants can pay for. Yeah. But apart from that, how do you ensure that the consumer gets what they're actually looking for, and smaller budget restaurants are still showing up on search?
So I think you've asked 2 separate questions. Let me address that separately. One is in terms of how smaller restaurants show up. I don't think the distinction is so much between smaller and larger restaurants, right? But what I've seen is, let's talk about new restaurants, for example, right? Some just burst from the scene on day one, right?
Yeah.
And there, I think it doesn't require anything, honestly, frankly. Even before we sometimes list them, customers are searching for them. And that's how we come to know that, there's what happened. Suddenly this restaurant being searched like 50 times yesterday.
Wow.
In this zone, right? See, it is, I will encourage also restaurant partners to think about marketing in the early days very deliberately, right? Because the world is not going to discover you just because you opened up. There, I think the one thing is, we do, I think as a platform, today the young restaurants have a shot at it at least. If you think about it, think of a world where aggregators do not exist at all. We still need to set it up for success. That's true.
Of course.
But the one moment you have good food and good customer ratings going for you, then the flywheel starts happening quite soon. And whenever I hear, when I get sort of saying, oh, I'm not being discovered, I obviously look at what have they done to, because we are a marketplace. At the end of the day, there's a 6-inch screen, right? Which has to be super, super, super optimized for everybody. And the objective functions for all kinds of restaurants are different, and everybody wants the same thing.
Okay. So, Rohit, talk to me about the Great Indian Restaurant Festival. You were talking earlier about restaurants and how people don't necessarily want to step out just for a discount. How is Swiggy sort of, trying to change or influence this behavior of eating out and dining out, and encouraging people to do that?
Yeah. So look, several ways. So I think if you look at dine-out, which is our dining out platform, so to say, today the platform very much is used by many people for first discovery. I think one culture which is changing a little bit still far away, like in the US, for example, if you have to step out for lunch or dinner, you will reserve a table. I think that is changing. We have launched a very powerful reservation tool. So, and reservation is not just about capacity. It's about peace of mind, right?
Yeah.
You're taking a family, you're taking your loved ones. You don't want to show up and then say, oh, full hai, 20 minute waiting hai, आधा घंटा waiting hai. So we're just promoting peace of mind, and that adoption is rising. Third, of course, there's offers and discounts, right? So it's becoming one of the place where people are discovering, reserving, seeing new restaurants come up because the collections are there, and also vibe based. A lot of it gives you, we're able to curate a lot. So like you're going on a date, right? You want a certain kind of ambience, you want a certain kind of safety, right?
Yeah.
So my personal peeve is the sound level in most restaurants and the music level, especially when nobody's dancing, right? And if nobody's dancing, why are you not letting other people talk?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have to always go and say, like, can you please make it to a level where people, because everybody's talking to each other. Look around you, nobody's dancing. So maybe one of the collection I want is a perfect decibel collection. But
definitely will be very popular with a lot
isn't
of
it?
people.
Haven't you faced that?
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know. Maybe it's something that restaurants do to make the restaurant seem more buzzy. I have no idea. But yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely a good ploy and definitely a curation that I'd look at.
This will be my favorite curation for sure.
But speaking of curation, Rohit, I think there are many synergies between food and content in terms of like the amount of effort that someone has to put in to create something that's enjoyable. Within family circles, I'm often called the human Swiggy because people are like, listen, I need to go somewhere for brunch. Give me 5 options, and then I have to like rattle off a bunch of recommendations. But I want to talk to you about this association with Mumbai Foodie. Mumbai Foodie has been able to build like this community of food lovers, and with served, of course, Swiggy seems to be venturing into content and storytelling. All of this, obviously, I'm sure leads up to a larger immersive experience when it comes to food. Can you talk to me a little bit about this partnership?
So we actually own Mumbai Foodie now. Right. Mm-hmm. We bought the company and it was Ronak who was created a fantastic, probably the best food channel in Bombay. Mm-hmm. Right. And he's now helping us build this across multiple cities. Look, I think the entire social commerce on food, I don't think it's yet like there's in China and other places. But the act of discovery, and food is so emotive, right? So having that capability where you're throwing content out, and also I think it's a great platform for restaurants to get discovered, right? And restaurants to tell their own story.
Yeah, absolutely. And would you say that this is what is setting Swiggy apart from, say, other food aggregators? People use food aggregators interchangeably, depending on convenience. How would you say that this is sort of setting Swiggy apart?
I think there are many things which set Swiggy apart. But I think this is one. Look, for me, the way I think about it is not setting apart. Mm-hmm. Because frankly, that's for somebody else to judge rather than me to declare. Like I say this, like we actually are a brand which extends from the lower middle class to the absolute rich of the country. Like very few brands can say they have the full range who are the customers.
Yeah.
So for us, then it's even more important for content to be out there, which is appealing to different segments and age groups and cuisine types and men, women, all kinds of things, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a capability we've really invested behind, and I think we'll continue to invest in the future.
Yeah.
It's not always measurable perfectly, but I think it shows up longitudinally over a period of time.
Sure.
Swiggy's foray into content through platforms like Mumbai Foodie is about building a more deeper, immersive connection with food. And that's powerful because food discovery these days isn't through recipe books or restaurant visits. It happens on screens, through reels, recommendations, and stories. This isn't just about market reach. It's about creating a platform where different food cultures come together and are celebrated in interesting ways. If done intentionally, Swiggy could move from being a utility to a kind of cultural curator where every meal and scroll is part of a bigger food story.
Speaking of which, Instamart and Bolt are, catering to growing demand for instant gratification. Have you noticed any interesting patterns in what people tend to order for instant gratification, like when speed is priority? Is it still biryani, or are there other things that people want quicker, faster?
There's probably 4.5 million menu items in Bolt already, right? Our data and patterns show that people want everything quicker. And India is one of the unique countries where it is possible because of the density of our urban areas, the closeness with which supply and demand exists.
Yeah.
And I'll illustrate that. For example, if you're in a town in US, in that town there'll be 4 food points only. Literally like 4 malls or those complexes where restaurants are there. India is not like that. Koramangala has 2,000 restaurants or 1,500 restaurants, right? Bandra will have, 800,000, some number like that. So we are uniquely positioned to do this. And it's also great because it just creates such large number of employment opportunities for a variety of people around us. So it's a win-win-win, I think, which is happening.
Fair enough. Okay, so in the past, Rohit, there have been restaurants who voice concerns and challenges about partnerships with aggregators. Visibility has been some issues. Commission rates have been an issue. How do you envision a successful partnership between restaurant partners and aggregators?
While new age companies, we always come into the limelight for all kinds of reasons, right? Because we are so consumer led. We are
Facing
consumer tech is always in focus. A healthy amount of dialogue and a little bit of friction is not bad, because it helps us improve. I welcome it all the time, because every time somebody has criticized us on some things, as long as it comes from a good place and it comes from a place of improving the industry, we are the kind of company who will always walk back and say, what can we do differently, right? And I'll give you a simple example to illustrate that why that's a one-sided view of looking at problems. Okay, let's say you're a brand and you want to cater to all of Bangalore.
Sure.
Imagine a world without aggregators. To cater to all of Bangalore, you'll need 40 restaurants probably, or 30 restaurants, right?
Yeah.
Today you can do it with 8 or 10, right? What happened to all the capex which got saved, right? And the scale you got because you had a reach which was never possible in a non-aggregator world,
Market. Yeah.
right? Consider a restaurant which is opening in a non-high street location because the rentals are cheaper. What are the chances they'll ever get discovered because they're in a back lane?
Yeah.
But today, if they're making great food, they still can.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, the true metric is, what percentage actually stay and leave for reasons which are related to commercials. That is low. And the reason is not low because they have no choice. They have a choice actually always, because a lot of people, they run their own marketing. But in net, it works out.
Yeah.
And both of us are here to stay. I think aggregators are here to stay. Restaurants have always been there. So my view has always been that baat se baat banti hai. So
Absolutely.
If there is anything that, and it's just so often it's happened, they've told us 10 points and 8 we have done and 2 we can't.
Fair enough. So obviously, Rohit, you have access to a lot of data of how consumers are behaving, what they're choosing to go for. If you had some advice to offer a restaurant in terms of either menu optimization, pricing, or operations, what advice would that be? A restaurant that was looking to start up in, say, Bangalore.
Look, at a very generic level, I think India is a market of good product, great price. I think the other thing is you have to come in the crowded market like Bangalore with some differentiation, right? And that differentiation can be menu-led. And the third thing is just understand how the distribution and marketing works very well. Don't shun, because sometimes what happens is, especially chef-led restaurants, they're so involved with food, and that's their first love on food, and they're just great at it. They just love it. I think if that's your real calling, get a partner whose calling is also to build a business. Right? And if you can do both, great, that's perfect. But sometimes you don't want to. Like, the best designers are also not always the best business people, right? And they get a partnership going which is very complementary. So understanding how the distribution works, how customers walk into the door, how us customers actually end up ordering in an app. And I'll say just invest day minus 30 of the restaurant, do a crash course, talk to people, and it'll just save so much hassle later on. It's a solved science. The only reason you don't know is because you have not sought enough help, right? So if it's a solved science, don't make the same mistakes, make new mistakes.
Fair enough. If you had to open a restaurant, what kind of restaurant would you open? Would it be like a specific cuisine or QSR or single owner?
I will open a pet-friendly cafe. I think if I can do a job and I can play with like dogs all day long, I'll take that job any day. Yeah.
And the pet industry is booming. I know my dog would be very happy. So Rohit, we've seen Swiggy expand to delivery from cloud kitchens, dining out platforms. Swiggy even signed a partnership for train delivery. What do you see as the next big evolution?
So I see a lot of alternate models, like for example, supper clubs becoming very popular.
Yeah.
I feel mixers of different varieties which bring people together, like dating mixers, for example, singles mixers, right?
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing, wherever there are human beings who need to connect with each other, right? And that, as much as technology can grow, people will want to seek other people out. So a lot of these alternate formats are growing at a hyper local level, where people will try and meet. And so I think restaurateurs can create these occasions, and this has existed, by the way. The classic Indian kitty party is a very much weekday afternoon lunch slot filler for multiple restaurants, right?
Yeah.
The number of supper clubs in the top 10 metros, I'm blown away. How many people are doing supper clubs?
Yeah.
Right?
And it's all really good food.
Really good food. And these are talented people who don't want to run a full large scale restaurant, and they don't want to run it every day. But they're just saying, Saturday, this is what my passion is. And sometimes like husband wife couple or doing it together, and two friends are coming in together and doing it. So I think a lot of these alternate formats are growing. I do feel beverages will be very, very large category, right? Especially as people seek a variety in beverages of all kinds. And we've already seen that in coffee, for example, right? The number of coffee brands which are growing, the coffee outlets which are growing, what consumers are accepting as alternate brands continuously, right? Whenever you feel that there are 3 large chains or 4 large chains, suddenly you'll find in every city there are 5 local champions who have come in, and they were making great coffee, right?
Yeah.
So those, the one thing I'm 100% certain will not happen in India is the death of traditional food won't happen. It is not going to happen.
What makes you so confident?
Because the Gen Alphas are also having it. See, it's a mistake to believe that they're only having fast food, right?
Yeah.
They're actually, when you present it in a format which is palatable to them and appeals to their sensibilities, they are welcoming it. They have it. Right. Rajma chawal continues to be a favorite for the 14-year-old also. There are queues in Bangalore outside idli dosa joints, no?
Yeah, of course. And in Bandra as well.
And in Bandra and in
Juhu and everywhere.
Just see this when you are there at any of the major airports, and don't take South India. Take a North Indian airport. Take like Bombay or West India, Bombay or Delhi.
Yeah.
Go at 8 a.m. There will be multiple outlets. Just tell me which one is the longest queue. It's always a South Indian joint.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
100%.
That I think shows that when it comes to Indian taste, comfort food, and it goes a long way.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much, Rohit. This sort of ends our Q&A section of the chat. We're going to move into a slight game that we've built out for you.
Okay.
So basically, I'm going to present you with a series of bizarre food delivery scenarios. And for each of them, you have to decide how likely Swiggy would be able to pull it off. Using one of these 3 responses. So it's totally doable, challenge accepted, we'd need a miracle.
Sounds like fun. Okay, let's go.
Yeah? Okay, great. So your first scenario, a fan orders 50 pizzas to be delivered to the stadium during a cricket match. Totally doable, challenge accepted, we'd need a miracle.
Challenge accepted.
Okay. A party host orders 200 bottles of soda, 30 bags of ice, and a disco ball, all in under 30 minutes.
Totally doable.
Okay, wow. A food influencer wants to create a 24-hour challenge where Swiggy decides every meal for them, from breakfast to midnight munchies.
Totally doable. Already happens, yeah.
Nice. Okay. A newlywed requests a 7-course meal to be delivered mid-ceremony.
Totally doable.
Yeah?
Just need the address right. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. A trekker wants a plate of butter chicken delivered to the top of a hill during a trek. Doable, challenge accepted. We need a miracle.
We'll need a miracle in this one.
Okay. And a service for delivering gourmet meals to both pets and their owners in one go.
Logistically doable. Culturally, we'll do it or not, I don't know. So, challenge accepted to think about it more.
Awesome. Fantastic. Super. Thank you so much, Rohit. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for giving us your time. And I've had a lot of fun chatting with you. I hope you have as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Smitha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to show us some love. Hit like, drop a comment, and scribble it in chutney. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever food memories live. And tell us, which dish from your childhood lives rent-free in your head?